unpack Hurricane Idalia this morning, Josh, in that 5 o'clock advisory. There was a lot to unpack in that.
Well, most of that is just making sure that we've got the specifics now, that we're moving into that 24 to 48 hour window, and that's where we are. Not much really changed as far as strength was concerned, not much as far as track was concerned. Now we're just moving into these little details, and as confidence grows, those were becoming more and more clear. Let's show you what's going on 542 as we've made just some minor adjustments into risk levels and things like that. Let's talk about it. You see two big features here on the map. First things first, Franklin, right there just west of Bermuda. This is our classic looking hurricane, which is spreading high surf and rip currents up and down the southeastern U.S. coast. And then there's Idalia in the Gulf of Mexico. And Idalia is going to be lifting to the north through the Gulf during the day today. And it looks like this is going to make an approach to the Florida coast, most likely as a Category 3, perhaps Category 4 hurricane as we head toward tomorrow morning around daybreak or maybe shortly after. As that's doing so, showers and thunderstorms are going to be spreading up the coast of South Carolina well in advance of it. We already have some this morning. And you see during the day tomorrow, we're going to see off and on heavy rain with bands of showers and thunderstorms continuing through probably midnight or so. And then after midnight, we'll start to see things improve as the center of the tropical storm at that point. It'll be a tropical storm at that point, moves right across the low country. So let's break down the threats from this. First things first, the heavy rain threat from flooding rainfall. Today it's limited. Tomorrow, though, the National Weather Service has outlined a large area of significant flooding threat that extends from Florence to Columbia, Augusta, all the way to the coastline, as we're going to see several inches of rain. On top of that, along the coast, we're going to see those higher than normal tides. Our tidal flooding risk as we head through the day tomorrow is going to be quite high, especially with that evening tide. We also are looking at an increasing risk of tornadoes during the day tomorrow, especially tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. And the Storm Prediction Center has outlined an elevated risk of that across the eastern half of the state. This is something that we expect with Gulf Coast storms. When they make landfall, typically on the Florida Panhandle and move in our direction, they are notorious for producing isolated tornadoes across South and North Carolina. It's just something that we deal with when we're looking at a storm approaching from the Gulf Coast, and that's why that threat has been outlined by the National Weather Service's Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. They handle the severe weather side of this. And then the National Hurricane Center's updated tropical storm wind probabilities now extend from about a 30% probability of tropical storm force wind gusts back toward I-95 to as high as 70% along the Charleston County and Colleton County coasts. And you can see a ribbon of 80% now beginning to move up toward Beaufort. So as we move through tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, that's when we would see the highest risk of those tropical storm force winds. This morning, you're going to notice a difference when you walk out as the tropical air is moving in. We talked about that yesterday, that there would be a noticeable change in the way the air feels when you walk outside this morning, particularly along the coast. And we have that already. Now, back inland, you're not seeing as much of that, although it is a little more stuffy this morning than it was yesterday, for sure. Viper radar showing a fairly quiet morning for most of us, but we do have showers and thunderstorms that are developing down toward Beaufort and even in some cases lower Charleston County or Colleton County in a few spots this morning. Those are only going to increase as we head through the day, with rounds of showers and thunderstorms expected to develop. Southeast winds at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Here's how the day breaks down. Low 80s at 9 o'clock, upper 80s at noon, upper 80s to near 90 at 3. We'll be in the mid 80s at 6 and low 80s as we head toward 9 o'clock, with an east to southeast wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour this morning. That picks up to about 10 out of the south this afternoon. Looking ahead to tonight, the bands of showers and even a few thunderstorms will continue to increase, especially after midnight. A south wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, upper 60s, low 70s well inland. Will be in the mid 70s to near 80 along the coastline. Tomorrow, bands of heavy rain, a few thunderstorms, breezy, southeast winds at about 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusts or 2 up to 30 during the day tomorrow, highs 80 to 85. Then it's tomorrow night into very, very early Thursday is when we see the greatest risk of those tropical storm force gusts, and those will be in the 40s and 50s, we think, especially closer to the coastline. Then during the day Thursday, things really start to change. By sunrise Thursday, we may be completely done with this. I wouldn't be shocked highs in the low 80s. Then Friday, Saturday, we're going to be in the mid 80s and mostly sunny. This sets us up for an awesome Labor Day weekend, I should say. Count on 2 for the Low Country's only 10-day outlook. Sunday's high around 88. Then Monday near 90 for Labor Day, about 90 for Tuesday and mostly sunny. We're going to be mostly sunny Wednesday and Thursday, highs around 90 to the low 90s with no significant weather impacts expected into next week. It'll give us a chance now to go into that late summer, early fall, what I call summer 2.0 for us here next week. Drier. You'll see drier air, not as humid, but it's still going to be very, very warm, if not hot in the afternoons, and mild mornings. That's what we're kind of moving into, I think, as we head into next week and the next couple of weeks after that. Let's see how things are looking on the roadways. Everything just fine.